Hi guys, and I feel like you got questions. I feel like there are things to be addressed, and first one is probably why the audio is so bad. Second one, where have I been for the last 2 months? And the third one, maybe not the most obvious one, why is there a Batman there? So the first one is, why is audio so bad? Knowing me, I always carry spare of everything, sometimes even double or triple spare of everything, including batteries for the microphone, which I don't have with me today. And this is the day when my mic has decided to die. Well, the battery has decided to die. That's pretty much because I left it on probably for the last 2 months, sitting in my bag. That's why the battery is flat. Second thing, where have I been for the last 2 months? Well, the pandemic came around the world. I'm an essential worker, so I was working excessive overtime hours. Basically kind of took the advantage of the situation. Don't get me wrong, I hope everyone's doing well. Extra pay and everything, extra hours at work. We all need to stay safe. I took advantage of the situation and bought a new car from the overtime hours that I did. So that kind of worked well in my hands. And the third one, the Batman. The Batman's gonna be our model today. And again, sorry for the audio. We're gonna be using the in-camera audio, unfortunately, today. The vision in my head is we're gonna put the Batman somewhere. We're down on the beach, it's a bright daylight. Found a little shade down here to film. We're gonna place the Batman somewhere on the top of kind of rocky bed. We're gonna grab some sand, some more rocks and stuff like that, and we're gonna try and photograph him kind of standing at the top of the kind of cliff, if you will. Then we're gonna Photoshop it all in a gloomy, dark kind of night scene, hopefully, because it's a pitch bright, is that what you say? Because it's a bright daylight, straight sun, no clouds whatsoever. Well, there's some clouds, but they don't really help us. We're gonna try and Photoshop this in a dark, kind of gloomy, rainy night, kind of semi-cityscape shot with maybe some city lights or some skyscrapers blurred in the background and some lightning strikes across the shot. So that's the vision in my head. That's the toy that we're working with today, and I'll try and take you through everything I do while I'm photographing this, and obviously the choice of the lens, either 50 or 85 or that one. I seriously doubt we're going to use the wide angle, and then we're going to jump into the computer and see how we can all put this together. The vision is good in my mind. Am I so trustful on my Photoshop skills? Yeah, we'll see, but we'll never know unless we try. Let's go. Right, so I guess the good thing about forgetting the microphone is that I don't really need to worry about which way I'm pointing the camera, because the mic is usually pointing my way, and if I flip the camera around, you could never hear me. I do apologize, there's some wind. I think we have found our location just here, and I just came up with another cool idea that would look very good in the edit. If we could get some water kind of in the background as well, and we could get some reflections of the water from lighting and maybe the cityscape. So the location we've chosen is down here. This is gonna be where our little Batman is gonna chill. I don't know how I'm gonna photograph this. I'll try and place some rocks around here, maybe bring some sand over here, and we're gonna get some water down there, and that's the area for the city, maybe far in the distance. Let's just get all this set ready with the rocks and sand. Right, I think that's gonna be our set right now. I'm now thinking that it actually looks pretty good with the wide angle lens. If we place him something like that, maybe above the horizon, but we want to see a little bit of water like this, would be pretty cool. So yeah, I'm gonna switch to my phone. I'm gonna put my phone on a little tripod stand so you can see kind of sped up behind the scenes of how I'm photographing this, and then we're going home to see what the photos look like and what can we do with them. Right. Oh, that's bright. Okay, Batman. Right, we have retrieved the Batman. I hope this is more or less in focus. We're gonna head home now. There's probably a sun in the lens right now. Gonna pack up the stuff, gonna go home and see what we can edit. I hope you can see the vision that's in my mind. Hope we can all together see it, and then we'll see how we do in an actual edit. I'm gonna be honest, I did a test edit, which I already have the finished product of this photo, but here we are in Adobe Lightroom with the photograph that I chose, actually using the wide angle lens, which I said that we wouldn't, but I wanted to have a little bit of a different perspective, a bit of a more of a background. So we ended up using the 15mm at f2, as you can see image right here. Our subject is more or less in focus because that's a manual lens, and we're gonna begin the edit. So I've got an idea. As I said, I've already done the edit, but now I need to get it on camera actually to make sure that you see how I did it as well. So, and as a starting point, we're gonna use one of my presets, which is called black and orange. We're gonna click on black and orange. So this kind of gives us a little bit of a mood to it. What we're gonna do within the Lightroom is we're gonna bring out a little bit of shadows, generally just to kind of clean up our subject, and a little bit of a highlights down because skies, or we want to get the skies as dark as possible. We're gonna take a little small brush tool and we're gonna brush carefully. Gonna bring up a little bit of an exposure and a little bit of shadows out, and that's about it. Now we're gonna hit right click, edit in Adobe Photoshop 2020. This is gonna take a little moment till it goes into the Photoshop, and I'm gonna do major steps, probably sped up, and then I'll explain you after I've done the steps, and I'll explain you what have I done and how have I done it. So right. First things first, what we're gonna do, we're gonna chuck in a starry sky. So I don't have to look for a photo online. I've got photos of stars myself, so we're just gonna use one of my own photos. So I'll do that very quickly right now. So this sky is a very rough starting point. Obviously we're going to change the sky a lot, and because of we've used the f2 lens, you can see how the background is blurred but the sky is not very much blurred. So if we're going to go to filter, blur, and we're going to go Gaussian blur, and we're going to roughly use, I don't know, let's say 6. And at this stage you can click OK, and then if you think you need a bit more you can just go filter and click Gaussian blur straight away again, and it will apply another same kind of intensity filter when it kind of all blurs in with the horizon and everything, and it looks much more obviously natural. So we can always tweak this edge here, but it's gonna be really tricky, so I think it's gonna be all nicely blended all together once we get the actual sky going. So I'm not gonna pay too much attention to try and fix that at the moment. So the image itself, obviously very colorful, not really night-like. So what we're gonna try and do here is we're gonna go to image adjustments and color balance, and we're gonna select the middle tones, and we're gonna get rid of the yellows a bit and bring them all towards the blue, and we're gonna take shadows, definitely the shadows, and we're gonna bring shadows more towards the blue kind of, so it kind of matches the sky. The water gets a bit kind of bluish as well. Still very colorful. We're gonna leave it at that. Now we want to make sure that we get a little bit of a star reflection down into the water. So basically we're gonna go here, duplicate layer, we're gonna duplicate the layer, cool. We're gonna hit Ctrl T for free transform, and holding the shift key down you can flip it around like so, roughly like that, and then just place it where you think it should belong. can see it's one layer right now, and we're gonna bring down opacity like drastically, because we only want to see this very faintly into the water, something like that, 30, I don't know, 35%, 36 or something. You can see a little bit of a reflection into the water. That's pretty much where we're gonna leave it to. Right, the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna bring in some gloomy sky. I have looked for the storm clouds on Google, so we're gonna be using these clouds here. I'm gonna scale up. That's why I said don't be too super careful about the edges and everything, because we're gonna be filling this up as well. Right, so now I'm gonna be playing around with the sky till obviously I'm happy with it. Yeah, we got the sky in, we got the reflection in, and we got the starriness in as well, which I think we can bring down the opacity down a little bit, maybe on the starriness. Yeah, it just makes the whole image much brighter as well, so we're just gonna bring in a little bit of a starriness so we could still keep it as a reflection into the water. Obviously, realistically, you wouldn't see that much stars through the clouds, but again, as I said, this is an absolute fantasy for us, and that's the nice thing about photography. You can literally go and do whatever you want. We might bring in a bit more sky here. Right, something like that. We're almost done, and the last thing, well, not the last thing, we're gonna add a little bit of a dramatic lightning here. Right, and again, I'm gonna be playing around with the blending mode till I am happy. We're gonna take this layer and we're gonna duplicate the layer, click OK, Control T, holding down the Shift key, we're gonna shuffle it down this way, stretch it out a bit as a reflection would be, and then we can pretty much leave it like so, and then again, same thing, go onto the adjustment layer, make sure you have selected your brush tool with the black color, and we can easily paint this thing away here, and then obviously don't forget to bring down the opacity, because the reflection would not be so strong naturally. I mean, this is not very realistic scene, however we're trying to stick with some sort of realism, I suppose. We never blurred out the lightning. That's the best thing, that with the Photoshop we can always come back to the lightning. So this is the one in the sky. Make sure you click on the layer, filter, Gaussian blur once, and once it's done, filter, Gaussian blur twice. Yeah, that has done accordingly, and we're gonna do the same one for the reflection as well. I totally didn't think about that. Don't know, it just kind of stood out to me. Maybe we can do it even 3 times since it's the reflection one, because it's kind of blurry-ish. Right, saving again. Right, we have saved the blurred version. Yeah, there we go, there's the blurred version here. We're gonna take a gradual filter, we're gonna bring it again the same way like we did before, and we're actually gonna bring down the exposure quite a lot actually, and make it much cooler, something like so. I'll take a brush tool. I'm not entirely happy how this background here looks, a little bit too bright, I would say. Some of these bits here, actually lower the exposure of that, because I don't think we would see that so well. And that is pretty much where I'm gonna leave it. So we pretty much, I'm gonna compare this actually to my first edit, if it loads, obviously. Oh wow, my first edit was much different. My second edit is much more colorful. Hey, anyway, so we came from this image here. Well, this is already with the preset to this image. I hope you enjoyed this Unreal edit. Obviously, as I said, there's no boundaries on editing once you're editing your images, and if you have an idea, just go for it. I found this extremely fun to go and shoot and to edit. happy with the result as well. And I hope you learned something new. Hope you can go and try something yourself. If you can, make sure you hit me up somewhere, Instagram, Twitter, whatever, YouTube, comment, get my email, reach out to me, and see what you've I'll see what you've done as well, if you've done some of this kind of editing. It's been a long video, I think. If you're still watching, then thank you very much for staying till the end, and like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next videos. Bye bye.